Good afternoon, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here with my very first U.S. weather forecast for October the 21st, 2024. In this video, we are talking about a rare heat dome that is expected to build across the Midwest, the Deep South, and the Northern Plains. Going to bring temperatures into the 70s and 80s as far north as portions of Iowa, southern Minnesota, as well as portions of Indiana and even for Illinois. So taking a look at your current satellite imagery across the United States for the afternoon here of October the 21st, and we can see there is our weather disturbance in the Midwest. This is bringing severe weather today, damaging winds, tornadoes, some large hail problems over this area. But I'm telling you right now, once this little guy moves out of the way, we're going to have a big ridge of high pressure that develops over the Midwest and the eastern seaboard under the influence of southerly flow, going to advect a lot of warm air northward, and it's going to definitely feel like late summer, early fall for many locations. Now, with that being said, here's a look at your temperature anomaly forecast from the European Ensemble Forecast. All 51 members here, a blend of an average to give us the most accurate representation what our temperatures are going to be doing in the Midwest over the next 5 to 15 days. So taking a look at this for tomorrow morning into Wednesday morning, this is a 1-day average temperature anomaly forecast spread out in a 24-hour period. And as you can see, for much of the day tomorrow, you will have temperatures above average across the Deep South and the Midwest, the High Plains, and even in the Great Lakes. So instead of wearing your heavy jackets, sweatshirts, and long sleeve shirts and pants, you're going to be wearing tank tops, sandals, and some shorts instead, because your temperatures tomorrow across the board will be in the 70s and 80s just about anywhere you go east of the Rockies, of the exception of North Dakota and the northwestern portion there of South Dakota. And then once you get across the west here, it's a whole different story since we're going to have some weather disturbances moving on by. But wow, very warm temperatures are expected with this big ridge of high pressure that is building on in. By days 4 and 5, that ridge will break down just only temporarily before another batch of very warm temperatures really move on in. And that's mainly part of the thumbnail in this video, showing us a big ridge of high pressure will be building in. And look at this, by days 7 and 8, temperatures will return well above average for the Midwest. In fact, we're talking some record high daily records to be broken in portions of, say, Kansas. If you're in Oklahoma, if you're in northern Texas, be pretty warm out there to end out October. Yes, this is not quite the 31st, but you get the idea. It'll be a really warm Halloween for a lot of folks. Versus last year, it was not so much that way. So a whole different weather pattern ball game setting up this year across much of the lower 48, seeing those temperatures that are above average, and then we'll take in on some cooler temperatures for Halloween for our area. And this continues all the way through early November, east of the Rockies. Just not going to see any fall-like weather pattern setting up anytime soon. No Arctic blasts yet being seen on the European Ensemble Forecast for the time being. Now, as far as that brief Arctic air mass that does drop in out of Canada, you can see overnight temperatures in the Great Lakes region will be around, say, the 30s, maybe some upper 20s, but most likely the 30s and the low 40s across this region. And then you're going to have warmer daytime highs as another weather system passes on by. But look at these temperatures are going to be warming up yet again. And when we go forward over the next several days, you can see how this all plays out. This is through Sunday morning for October the 27th. And you can see temperatures pretty chilly, but won't last for very much longer as that ridge builds in. By the end of the 7-day forecast, we could see temperatures back in the 60s, 70s, and maybe even some 80s. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Close to 80 degrees in Minneapolis on Tuesday, October the 29th. But this is pretty far out in time, so I wouldn't worry about it much yet. But yes, just keep that in mind. Temperatures are going to be quite warm. Even the GFS is showing that too. Let's go to our forecast way out in to the future here, showing temperatures in the 80s, perhaps in upper 70s for late October this far north, which is absurd. You don't see this very often, and even for the day before Halloween, it's just ridiculous, unbelievable. And this is going to really add to those 30-day temperature anomaly averages. This is the average temperature anomaly over the last month, over the last 30 days, and anything in orange here doesn't seem significant, right? That's only about 5 to 8 degrees above normal. But when you put that into an entire month, that means areas like up here in Montana have maybe had 1 or 2 or maybe 3 days with temperatures normal to maybe slightly below normal, but the rest of the days have been above average versus down here in the southeast. You have had a pretty normal last month of temperature wise, not seen much in the way of big heat waves, big colder Arctic air masses. Actually, there was one recently that knocked these 30-day averages down a little bit, but for the most part, the Northern Plains, Canada, not feeling like winter, fall at all. Well, at least for Canadian standards, temperatures are cooling off up there as we go deeper into October. But as far as temperature anomalies go, this is definitely not feeling like late fall or mid-fall at all, more like late summer or early fall instead. And the reason why it's going to be warm over the next week or so is because of our upcoming weather pattern. As I told you at the beginning of the video, we have a big ridge of high pressure that is going to be settling on in over the Midwest and the northern tier of the United States. What this likes to do is it's like to warm up temperatures, bring in those warmer temperatures from the deep south, from the Gulf of Mexico, and advect those northward under the influence of southerly flow. So as we go forward here, you can see one ridge goes out of the way, this little trough moves on in, so lower than normal heights mean temperatures will be slightly or a little bit below average, but don't let that fool you. Don't get used to that, because the pattern is not going to be changing in a favor where we're going to get some big Arctic air masses. That's not happening over the next 5 days. And instead, we're going to see lots of ridging in the Midwest here. In fact, even across the West, this big dome of high pressure is going to be loving the lower 48 states in the United States. And this continues all the way over the next 7 days. I mean, come on. You have southwesterly flow here in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, so that's going to help to advect all of this warmer air northward off the Gulf of Mexico as our trough of low pressure moves in across California. And this is going to continue, and then the ending result could be a negatively tilted trough, something that we may need to watch further down the road for maybe another possibility output of severe weather. Almost said outbreak there. And then you got this ridge of high pressure over the northeastern United States. And this is a pattern, folks, that does not ask for very big Arctic air masses. Instead, across the west, we're likely to see that despite higher than normal heights, we're going to get more cold air advection to replace that. So it is going to feel more like, say, mid-fall, perhaps mid to late fall for October standards for California, for the Pacific Northwest. And then look what happens. This pattern does not change very much. That trough lifts out. We get a ridge of high pressure that reamplifies. This southwesterly flow continues. And the ending result will be that temperatures will end out above average. And in fact, if that's not enough, for the morning of Halloween, yep, gonna be warm at this given time. But again, this is far out, and you know how models do change over time. So we will keep you updated as this gets closer, because a lot of people are wondering about what trick-or-treating will be like for you. Now, with a big dome of high pressure that's going to be hugging much of the eastern U.S., that means not much opportunities of severe weather or significant weather systems moving on through, right? We're not going to see that in the unfortunate case here. So when we look at the European model here, you got a little bit of a cold front that is going to be swinging on through. That's going to bring down temperatures and bring the chances of rain. But look at, after that passes through, we get another system across the northern tier of the United States. In fact, this is probably where our most active weather will likely be over the next 7 to 10 days. Nothing big going on for the southeast, which is good. You're still repairing from Helene and Milton. You all do need to dry out down here, but drying out for too long is not good news, and I don't have good news on the way at all. And it's just going to be dry. Now, towards the end of the forecast, we might get something brewing out here across, say, the southeastern United States. And then maybe by the very end of the forecast, we might get a weather system to swing on through. But before that, it'd be very tough to get anything significant. And it's been dry for already a few weeks, or about a couple of weeks or so. Maybe some showers in the past there and here, but nothing too denting to really kind of alleviate all the dry grounds. And unfortunately, this is going to continue for the eastern seaboard. Instead, the Pacific Northwest will get quite a bit of rainfall chances as a very active jet stream swings on through. So Keith Evans, you're up there in Washington. Get ready. It's coming. More rain, more wind, and high elevation snow is anticipated, with cooler temperatures, of course, because you're going to have a lack of sunshine going through those clouds. The rainfall forecast on the European ensemble forecast, again, a blend of 51 different possibilities. And you can see the average here showing maybe a little bit more rain expected over the next 7 days for portions of, say, Iowa, northern Missouri. If you are in, say, Illinois and Wisconsin, you might get another 1/10 to maybe a half an inch of rainfall. But look at this. Across the deep south and the southeastern United States, including for Florida, you're not going to see virtually anything on the ensembles. Seriously dry here, with maybe about a couple of hundredths of an inch of rain on the European ensemble. I mean, that's pretty low, given an average. That means half of the models don't show anything, and the other half maybe show a little bit. However, though, the Pacific Northwest is going to take the cake with the most rainfall. Anywhere between, say, about 2 to 5 inches of rainfall is anticipated there over the next 7 days, especially for the Cascade range of Washington and Oregon. Going to get most of that orographic effects from atmospheric river moisture. And the ending result will be that temperature or precipitation anomalies will be below average here, well below average for the southeastern United States and the eastern seaboard. Still below average, unfortunately, for California. That's not good news at all for us. And then also near average to slightly above average precipitation chances for the Pacific Northwest, including Washington and Oregon. But anyways, if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that like button, and share this video with your family and friends on social media. As always, I will be doing a lot more of these updates, so if you're all used to me making tropical weather updates, well, there's not really much to report on other than Oscar, which is rapidly weakening right now down to about a 35 to 40 mile an hour tropical system. And the tropics gonna look quiet for the next 2 weeks or so. Maybe late October, early November, we may have to watch for something. But otherwise, get used to seeing a lot of these US weather updates at least every day to every other day. But anyways, share, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back with you more soon.